Hi there, and welcome back to day 2 of Inktober Tangles 2025. My name is Martha, and I am a certified Zentangle teacher. Today I'll be taking you through the steps of creating the Seedwayz tangle. I'll do a basic version and then a variation of the tangle. I've started by adding 2 large curved lines, and now I'm going back and adding an aura to each of those lines. So essentially, I've mimicked those first 2 curved lines. Next, I'm going to start by drawing some seed shapes in between the 2 curves. And I'm just kind of spacing them, I would say maybe a pinky finger space apart. But I'm just putting those seeds right in the middle between those curved lines. Now I'm going to add some dashed lines on the left and the right side of the curved lines, and just in between the seed shapes. Now I'm going to draw a curved line starting at the seed shape and going down to the dashed line on the right side. In Zentangle, we call this take off and land. So I'm taking off from the seed and then I'm landing on the dash mark. I always like to start in the middle and then work my way up and then down. Then I'm turning my tile and I'll be taking off and landing from the seeds, but in the opposite direction. Next, I'm going to aura around the curved lines that I just drew. So where we took off and land, we're going to do that same motion again, taking off, but this time we're just outside those little curved lines. Next, we're going to add a curved line down in these little corners. Of course, you know what's next. Another aura. These little marks make all the difference in Zentangle. You know, of course you could leave it, you could not add the aura, and it would look wonderful. But I think these little details are what really make Zentangle drawings so lovely. Next, I'm going to color in all of those little corners as well as the seeds. So just take your time with this if you want to hit pause and enjoy this moment. Just fill in those spaces, and I will see you when you're done. Next, we're going to take our graphite pencil and we're just going to add a little bit of graphite in those curves that were created, extending from those seeds. I wasn't a fan of this tangle the first time I tried it, but when I added the shading, I think that's what really did it for me, because you really get that kind of 3D interlocking lacy feel that the tangle has. So that's day 2 of Inktober Tangles 25. The tangle is sideways. And now I'm going to do a variation of this tangle. I'm doing this variation on a Zentangle, so the round paper tiles. If you are doing this at home without Zentangle, tiles, you're welcome to just trace something that's circular in your home to create a circle shape. I'm starting here. I'm using an 01 blue micron pen, and I'm just auraing the outside edge of the paper tile. So just take your time here, enjoying this piece, this moment, until you've gotten back to the place that you started. For the next part, I want to draw a smaller circle inside. So I'm going to start by just adding a little dot, and I'm going to use my thumb as kind of a measurement tool. I can try to do the same equal distance for these dots and then connect them with the curved line. I'm a middle school art teacher, and my students get so stressed out about drawing perfectly straight lines and circles and other shapes. They get so stressed out about it that I had to take out the stencils from my classroom and hide them so that they wouldn't use them. And this really frustrates them because there's this sense that they need to be perfect in their drawings, and I'm really trying to teach them that that is so unnecessary. I just want you to enjoy that process and just try your best. Next, I'm going to aura that circle that I drew. You know, really, I shouldn't be using the word circle. We like to use the word orb in Zentangle to kind of take that pressure off of trying to make this perfect shape. So I'm just auraing that inner orb. So it's very much like a inner tube here that I've created. The name of this tangle is Seedwayz, and I don't know the background to how this Zentangle teacher, this CZT, created this, but I definitely see the seeds here. So I am just filling this kind of inner tube that I've created on the outside edge of the Zentangle with a series of small seed shapes. So I'm just doing a curve and then a curve on the other side. Kind of a football shape or an eye shape, but definitely seed-like. Next, I'm going to add some little dashes on the left and right side, just between each of the seeds. So just a couple of little marks, and I tend to make mine pretty small. I noticed that when I first learned this tangle and I was trying it out, that if my dashes were a little too long, I wasn't happy with how they connected to the seeds in the next step. So I like to make them pretty small. I'm going to be using the take off and land method here. So I'm taking off from the seed and I'm landing down on that little dash mark. And I am turning my tile, my Zentangle tile, clockwise. It's just how I like to draw. If you prefer to take off from the dash and land on the seed, you can. But I think because the line, this curved line that's connecting the seed down to the dash is curved, and the seed is curved, I like starting on that curved form of the seed. Now I'm going to draw in the same motion, but I'm drawing from the seed to that outside dash, and I'm going to turn counterclockwise. But again, figure out what is most comfortable for you. Now I'm going to aura around each of those curves that was just created by the takeoff and land method. And you're welcome to push pause and meet me at the next step when you are done. And once you've finished those curves, go ahead and do the curves that go to the opposite side. I've zoomed in here because I want to show you what I'm doing here. Before I aura, I'm going in and I'm kind of redrawing that seed. You'll notice that when I take off and land, I'm not always drawing that seed as maybe as well as I would like it to be. So this is my time to kind of go back and connect that seed shape to make it kind of line up a little bit better. And once I've done that, then I will go around and aura that line. These will be filled in with solid ink in a moment, so it can kind of look messy right now because it's going to be covered up. Now I'm going to start to fill in those seeds and make a solid color, kind of covering up any kind of rough lines that were there originally. One of the final steps before adding some shading to this is to draw some little corners here. I'm going to go ahead and draw the curve line and the aura to it. I'm just going around, starting on the outside, and then I will do those inside curves. Once they're drawn, I'm going back in and filling them in with ink. So there, for mine, it's a solid blue. If you're doing this in black and white, your ink or your little corner would be filled in with black ink. So after finishing that side, I'm going to do this intersection, again, drawing a curve in the corner and then adding an aura around it and then filling it in with ink. Please don't hesitate to push pause and take your time drawing these curves and auras and even enjoying that coloring in of the little corners. Next, I'm taking my blue charcoal pen and I'm going to start to add some charcoal inside of these curves. And just like I said in the beginning of this video when I did the kind of very simple version of this tangle, this is what really I think makes this tangle come alive. And you really start to see the kind of interlacing of the different areas. So I'm going to do the curves on one side and then I will go back and do them the opposite way, and then I'll grab my tortillon and blend that color in. The tangle is looking a little light, so I decided to go back in with that charcoal pencil and aura this smaller orb or this smaller circle, just to add a little bit more of variation here on this tile. I'm going to do it here on this outside edge, staying just inside that original line that I began with. And after all of that, going back in with my tortillon and blending that charcoal into the paper and really softening up the color. And so there we are, this lovely variation of the Seedwayz tangle. I'm going to go ahead and get this labeled. I highly recommend writing the names of the tangles on the backs of your tiles. After a few years, like 6 years, I realized that I should start putting the names of the tangles on the back. So if you are at the beginning of your tangle journey, I highly recommend getting in the habit of doing this now. All right, so here are both of my tiles. The one on the left is just a basic Seedwayz tangle, and then the one on the right I kind of pushed a little bit further, just did a little bit of a variation, and I did it in the round, and I have just grown to love this tangle over the past week that I have been learning it. I hope you did too, and thank you again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for day 3.